ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive.
It is Tuesday, June 16th. Your drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Our text line this hour brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop, 304-396-TALK. That is 304-396-8255. Give the open text lines for the entirety of the show today. We've also been keeping an eye on baseball. We'll have a final hopefully before the end of the show. But it's not looking good right now if you're a fan of the Sun Belt, because the Mountaineers and the Troy Trojans are in an elimination game. Mountaineers are up. We're going to the 8th, and at last check, it was 7-0. I'm going to get that updated score because I was watching it right before I walked into the studio, and it was in the bottom of the 7th, and the Mountaineers had that 7-0 lead. Troy's capable of putting some runs on the board. What they did to Ole Miss, a 12-8 final there, it's a possibility. But we're still in the bottom of the 7th, and the Mountaineers are leading the Troy Trojans 7-0. And Troy has some opportunities left, but not much. I'm surprised. I would have thought that Troy could get a little bit more offense going in this rematch with the Mountaineers. But if you've been kind of keeping an eye on that, it's kind of getting away from Troy right now. Looks like the Mountaineers will advance. But again, a few innings to go. Anything's possible. It is baseball after all, and we can see a lot of runs in a short amount of time. If you were watching that Reds game yesterday, you know what I'm talking about. The Reds put 12 on the Mets. I had tuned into that just for a few minutes, got the start of it. It was like, I think it was like 2-3-0, and then I left and it came back and then, whoa, where did all these runs come from? And so the game 2 of that series coming up tonight, 7:10 in Cincinnati. The Guardians are opening up a series tonight at 7:40 against Milwaukee. They're in Milwaukee. And then the Pirates last night, late one, 9:15, our airtime tonight as well, as the A's got the better of the Pirates 11-2. I hope you didn't stay up late for that one. If you did, I am so sorry. But the Pirates have an opportunity to bounce back. That's coming up again tonight. 9:15 is going to be our airtime right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. So while we keep an eye on this West Virginia Troy game, it's an elimination game after all. Very important. And if WVU wins, it will advance. Troy will be out, and that will be it for the Sun Belt and the postseason. Got a lot to get into. Yesterday, right before we got off the air, the news came out that Marshall had landed several players on the Phil Steele preseason All-Sun Belt Conference team. So we'll get into those selections. You know how I feel about those preseason publications. I mean, they're nice. They're good. There's some information. There's nice little nuggets there. I don't know if it's necessarily something that's earth-shattering, or you can get that on the internet now. You can find that information if you really look hard. And how up-to-date is that information? Now, Phil does a job and a half. He tries to make sure he's got the most up-to-date information. Then he's updating stuff on the website. And, of course, you got to subscribe and you got to pay for all of that. And that's how that works. If you want that kind of content, you got to open up the checkbook. Or, I'm sorry, for those kids that are listening, you got to tap the phone or tap your card to get that extra content. And so we'll go over the selections. I mean, are these preseason publications really prestigious to you? I mean, do they matter in the grand scheme of things? What somebody thought a publication, any publication? I mean, are some better than others? And then we got the news right before we hit the airwaves from the West Virginia amateur, Marshall Jr. Savannah Hawkins had a final round 69 to finish 1 under par, and she won the 2026 West Virginia Women's Amateur at Oglebay Park Palmer course in Wheeling. Her 3-under in the final round left her as the lone golfer in the field to finish under par for the entire tournament. And she won it by 5 shots over Bridgeport's Audrey Kerr. So congratulations to her. Hopefully we can bring her on the show in the future to talk about the experience. But again, congratulations, Savannah Hawkins, winning the West Virginia Women's Amateur. So as I alluded to earlier, it's going to be open text line, so I want to get that going here in the next few minutes. Our text line is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. If you haven't been a part of the show in a while, welcome back. We'll get those texts going in just a few minutes. And, of course, as we talk about this all-field steel team, and we start talking a little bit more football, we have to probably eventually get into it. And I really didn't have a chance to get going with it since we were off last week. Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Sorsby. I mean, what a story that's been. All last week, I'm sitting here thinking, man, if I only had a show, I could talk about this. But he ended it. He ended it for me. I don't have a chance to really get into this now because it's old news. He's going to apply for the NFL's supplemental draft, and that's going to hopefully bring some sanity back. And I don't know if there's going to be any ramifications. There was a temporary injunction by a Texas judge that allowed him to be eligible. He was ruled ineligible by the NCAA because he placed more than 9,000 bets. Not 9, not 10, 9,000 bets. And we're talking about at least $90,000. Bet on professional and college sports over 4 years. He was at Indiana, Cincinnati, and Texas Tech. It was reported he had at least 40 wagers. That was involving Indiana football when he was a freshman with the Hoosiers in 2022. So I'm obviously on the NCAA side. Ineligible. You can't do that. Absolutely not. And I can remember going back a ways. Remember when Mike Hamrick was athletic director? You remember Mike Hamrick. Everybody knows Mike. I recall Mike saying one time that all the gambling establishments, you got to the above board stuff, right? I mean, I'm not talking about the guy down the street, your bookie. I'm not talking about that dude. I'm talking about you go to some of the legitimate certified establishments, and they know who is a player and who's not. Because Marshall was like, hey, look, here's who's employed with us. Here's who's on the teams with us. If they come in, that's a big no-no. Now, I've never heard of anything going down, but I do recall hearing Mike Hamrick say that one time. It was on one of our radio shows. And I thought, okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty forward-facing. You gotta enforce this stuff. I mean, after all, we look down, not all of us, but we look down on Pete Rose for betting on baseball, even though he's betting on his own team, right? We kind of frowned on that. A lot of people frowned because you don't do that. You don't break Rule 1. And so the NCAA having the ability to enforce rules hampered by that Texas judge. And then you got some of the conferences getting involved. You got some of the schools across the board going, that's all right. We're going to take Texas Tech off our schedule. We're not going to schedule Texas Tech. And I think that those institutions are well within their rights. A lot of programs are saying, we're done with Texas Tech. Also, if you're Sorsby, you're feeling good right now because Texas Tech's not going to try to get a little payback. A lot of money paid to Sorsby through his NIL agreements. And he gets to pocket that and keep that money. What a deal for him. He gets to pocket that money, keep it, and then he gets to go into the supplemental draft. Now, what the NFL teams and owners decide to do, that's anybody's guess. Are you looking at this guy going, yeah, that's an asset right there we want? We definitely don't want that headache. And I don't think that he's going to find that the NFL is going to be the place for him. But there was a lot of legal activity. We missed out on that, or at least I missed out on that. The Big 12 was filing an injunction in federal court. They wanted to enforce their rules. They wanted to enforce their rules, and they wanted to be able to discipline him. And then the NCAA asking an appeals court, hey, can you kind of speed this up? We'd like to get this resolved before football season, because if he gets to play and then you rule in our favor, it kind of means nothing after the fact. And so the supplemental draft deadline to apply, June 22nd. And so he decided, hey, look, okay, this is going to be the best place for me. Because if I'm not eligible, then I'll miss out on this draft. If I am eligible, of course, I wouldn't have to. So there's no way they would have been able to resolve this. So in itself, this resolves the immediate problem. But the Big 12 board of directors come out and basically say, look, we want to enforce our rules. And they even release a statement. Universities should not field players who have bet on their own team's games in college athletics. And there was going to be a legal fight. And I was almost here for it. Because that's one thing that is missing from the NCAA. The ability to enforce its rules. Because every time it tries to enforce its rules, and I think for the most part, unless you're Texas Tech, unless you're a sycophant of that program, thinking that the world's against you, this is our quarterback, nothing wrong here, this is our guy. This was pretty much widely criticized as a terrible decision with this injunction. Because gambling is not inherently bad. Not inherently. Hey, I put a few dollars down on the office bracket. Yeah, okay, cool. That's gambling, right? Technically, yeah, okay. But it escalates. And then you're an athlete and you're betting on your own team, and you can change the outcome, or you have the potential to impact the outcome. And that's where we start getting into the big issues here. And so the NCAA says, no, you're not eligible. And then lawyers fire back, and Texas judge says, no, he's eligible. And then the Big 12's like, well, we're going to enforce our rules, and we want to, affirm that we can enforce our rules. And there was pushback that, no, you can't do that. That's going to be unlawful. You can't do that. I mean, there are a lot of people that were looking at this as, look, okay, we're not going to play Texas Tech. Yeah, you want to have this guy on your team, that's fine. You can. We don't have to play. And I know the Big 12 was really ramping up to see where this was going to go. So here we are. The supplemental draft is going to be the place for Sorsby. I feel like this shouldn't have been what it was now. But the NCAA needs the ability to enforce its rules and not have someone file an injunction on a whim. I differ a little bit, in many regards as far as what's a good rule, what's not, when you should be able to seek relief. For me, case by case, right? But the NCAA can't enforce its own rules. It has no authority. It has no, and now this is what college football looks like. And it might be an age thing. Yeah, maybe college football's gotten out of control a little bit. I think we would all agree it's gotten a little bit out of control. On one hand, we've empowered student athletes, right? Nobody hates that. Student athletes can benefit. But we're talking about excessive monies here, not a true transaction. This isn't something where we're looking at, I'm Paul Swann. I have a lot of influence maybe, or I have a little bit of name power. My name means something. There's some recognition there. And so I have the ability to kind of capitalize on that. And I can do that in a lawful transaction. I could be the spokesperson for a car dealership, and I can receive compensation for that. I'm making name, image, and likeness money because, I'm Paul Swann. I'm this big time quarterback, or I'm the quarterback of your favorite team, and I want to reach that team, and so I'm going to get the quarterback of your team to talk about my cars or my dealership, and I'm going to pay that guy. He's going to bring customers into me, right? And I'm going to profit. This guy's going to profit. That's a transaction. Name, image, and likeness. He's benefiting off of that. Not, hey, all right, here's our budget. We got $20-some million. We're going to spread that out. Hey, you need a wide receiver? Okay, here's what we budgeted for that. Hey, we need a quarterback. Okay, this is what our budget is for that. Need some offensive linemen. Yeah, okay, this is usually what we pay for offensive linemen. This is percentage. Okay, we're going to pay football more. We're going to put some money into basketball. All right, we're going to trickle down a little bit. Okay, I got to spend some NIL money over here. We need a good tennis player. We got some money left. We could probably spare, a few dollars if we really need a solid number one or two. Look, Chris Grassi, he needs a striker. We can get one. We can get one when, and those rules are a little different as well because, where Chris is recruiting elsewhere, those rules are going to be different. But, we need a striker. Okay, here's a good one. We got some striker money here. No, that's not NIL for me. For me, it was taking advantage of the fact that, you have value. And so you can capitalize on that value in legitimate transactions. But instead, you see where we're at now. I will get off the soapbox and open it up for you. Our text line, 304-396-TALK. That is 304-396-8255. You've heard what I had to say. It's now time to hear what you have to say on today's edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Mike Rowe here with another random fact. Those cracks on your walls aren't just cosmetic. They could mean your home is sinking. Whether it's drywall cracks, exterior cracks, or sticking doors or windows, do yourself a favor, call Groundworks. I spent some time working with these guys, and they're the real deal. Their people are trained and certified to stabilize your foundation. Baker's Waterproofing and Basement Authority of West Virginia are now Groundworks. Schedule a free inspection.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
This is Huntington Mayor Patrick Farrell. If you haven't been downtown in a while, this is your invitation. Come see Huntington. You'll find families gathered along the river, friends sharing a meal, kids running through the park, music filling the air. You'll find a city moving forward, a city on the rise. Join us July 3rd at Harris Riverfront Park to celebrate America's birthday at Dog Dazzle. Enjoy great food, live entertainment, and fireworks over the Ohio River. Come celebrate America's birthday with us.
Feeling ready for a change? The Women Warrior Summit returns Friday, October 23rd in Huntington, West Virginia. This year, we'll explore the power of reinvention with stories about growth, change, and beginning again. Visit WomenWarriorSummit.com to learn more.
Big news. It's the King's Tire Service Grand Opening Celebration Wednesday, June 17th in Ona, right on Route 60 across from Cabell Midland. The fun kicks off with a ribbon cutting at 10 a.m. and the smokers will be rolling all day with a free lunch from King's. Plus, we're giving away massive door prizes, a 65-inch flat screen TV, a Blackstone griddle, free hats, t-shirts, and a $1,000 gift card for new tires. For over 55 years, it's automotive excellence you can trust. Come get more more than you expect. See you Wednesday, June 17th in Ona.
The spirit of competition. You see it throughout the community. Friends and family challenging themselves in whatever they do, giving it their all. Since 1901, Putnam County Bank is right there with you, competing for your business, stepping up for our community, and moving our region forward. That's why Putnam County Bank is proud to be your hometown bank, making our community stronger, all while striving to be the best, helping you develop and grow. That's the goal of the Putnam County Bank, PCBWV.bank.
Grab the mic and bring the fun to the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe. It's Mike Night every Saturday from 8 till 10. Whether you're a total rock star or just a shower singer who loves to have fun, grab the mic, sing loud, and make a night of it. And every Thursday evening, it's Wingo Singo Bingo. Every Thursday from 7 to 9. Singo Bingo plus 50-cent bonus wings. Great food, great drinks, and great fun. Every week at the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe, across from Pullman Square, downtown Huntington.
Well, Jason, I've got to tell you, you're pretty much everything this company is looking for in an entry-level candidate.
Great.
Your resume isn't quite what we're used to, but you've got a fantastic work ethic.
Thank you.
And I'm impressed by how you carry yourself.
So, should we talk about the job?
What? The job? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have no way of recruiting or even meeting you. This interview didn't happen.
It may sound ridiculous, and that's because it kind of is. There's a huge pool of talent your company is missing out on. Meet the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Man, we really could have used him.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Follow at Paul Swann on X for Marshall sports updates and more.
Our text line this hour brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. This is your Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Get an update from the elimination game, College World Series. West Virginia, bottom of the 8th, leads Troy 7-0. So a couple more outs, and it looks like the Mountaineers could be on their way to the next level. We're getting closer. Of course, they still have got to earn their berth in the championship game. They're still playing, and they can't lose. Not until you get to that title game. You cannot lose. So will the Mountaineers make it all the way? Possibility. Not looking good for Troy. Here's my thought on this. Troy ran into a better pitching staff today. The bats are a little quiet. Haven't been able to really get runners at home. But whatever happens, I think we all know that baseball is good in the Sun Belt. I mean, look at Troy all the way here to Omaha. If you're not watching this game right now, and if you have a rooting interest, are you pulling for the Mountaineers, or are you still holding out hope here as we go into the top of the 9th? Are you still holding out hope that maybe Troy's got 8 or 9 runs in them coming up, and that the Sun Belt will continue to advance? You got 3 options here. Are you rooting for WVU? Are you rooting for Troy? Or are you rooting for neither one, because you're not rooting for Troy just because they're in the Sun Belt, and you're not rooting for that other team because, well, they're that other team? And, of course, if you're listening to the show, you're not watching that game right now. I think you kind of fall into the I'm not rooting for anyone here in this scenario. But the College World Series, game number 9 of this thing going on. We're at the top of the 9th, and Troy trying to keep the score to 7 and mount its comeback. And again, that text line, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255 to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Texter says, I hate to admit it, but I'm not rooting for either team. Just because they're in the Sun Belt doesn't mean I have to like them. Go Herd. Appreciate the text. You can get your text in as well. And again, that's 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. So yesterday, as we were going off the air, we got the word that Marshall landed 11 players on the Phil Steele 2026 preseason All-Sun Belt Conference team, including 5 players named as preseason All-Sun Belt first teamers. Looking at Carlos Del Rio Wilson, your quarterback. You're looking at wide receiver Adrian Norton. You're looking at your tight end, Toby Payne. You're looking at offensive lineman by the name of Jalen Slappy. You know who he is. And you're looking at your defensive back, Daquan Smith. What do you think? Good selections? I mean, Carlos, obviously. If you're picking a preseason team, Carlos is your quarterback. I don't care. You can look at all the other quarterbacks in this league. I don't care. That is the hill I will die on in this league. If you're picking an all Sun Belt team and your quarterback for your all Sun Belt team is not Carlos Del Rio Wilson, then it's invalidated in my mind. Jalen Marshall picked up second-team honors. Gilmore picked up second-team honors as well. Xavier Turner Bradshaw picked up second-team honors. Tariq Montgomery picked up third-team honors. Braden Ward and Michaelin Warren picked up third-team honors as well. Let's go back to that first team, though. That's a pretty good list. I don't know. Bradshaw could have been in that first team run, right? I mean, most of the first teamers are offensive guys. Most of them. I mean, I get it. You know, you don't necessarily see a guy like Turner Bradshaw making first team, right? Right? I mean, I would have put him on first team. Second team's good, though. But what's that say about this offensive potential for the Thundering Herd? Obviously, Carlos is going to be the guy. There's no quarterback controversy here going into this season. Carlos Del Rio Wilson is your quarterback. And now you just got to keep him upright, make sure he finds the open guy, make sure he finds Norton a lot, right? Make sure that you can find Toby when you need him. And don't give up that many points. There you go. That's the formula to win. But if you look at this, list, what does it mean, the preseason list? Is it, hey, there are people looking at you, there's a lot of talk about you? I mean, this is not an indicator by any stretch of what's really going to happen. I mean, we all know Carlos is good, so we're giving him his props. Carlos is good. So with Carlos, it just makes sense. Yeah, you look at that and go, okay, yeah, I mean, yeah, your list has got to have Carlos in it. That's just obvious here. But the expectation is that Marshall's offensive line and Marshall's weapons should be good. There's a little expectation here for Marshall. And most of these guys are offensive. Defense is getting a little bit more love on the second and third team. I would like to see more on the first team just to make me feel a little bit better. But at the end of the day, if you look at this list, it's going to be different from the next list that comes out. And then the next list that comes out and the next list that comes out. Where do you rank this list when it comes to your guys? Well, let's go first team. Did they get it right? Did Phil and his guys, did he get it right And would you take someone off? That's a question. I want to see if I get anyone willing to say, yeah, I would take someone off. Who do you take off that list? And I'm going to guarantee right now, no one serious is going to go, yeah, no, you take someone off that list. No, they're not a first teamer. I don't think I've ever heard a Marshall fan yet go, yeah, I love our guy. He's not a first teamer. If you make that first team list and then you look at it, no one's going to say, yeah, hey, you know what? Toby Payne he's more second team. Jalen Slatton, he's more second team guy. He's not really first team material. He's good. We like him, but he's more second team. Nobody's saying that. No one absolutely saying that. And you're looking at Adrian Norton. You're going, you know what? He's a really good wide receiver, but is he first team? No one's saying that. No one's saying that. Now, I bet if Carlos would have been second team, Carlos made second team. What? Now you'd probably have a little bit more issue with this list, and you would probably pay it more attention. Oh, this list is trash, right? That's what you would probably be saying. Oh, this list is trash. And I haven't seen that yet. I'm sure it's coming. Anytime a publication comes out and you look at these lists and you go, oh, that's where I would have them. Yep, spot on. Or this list is trash. I don't think there's a happy medium in between any of these lists. It's either, oh, yep, spot on or trash. Let's get just caught up on what's happening in College World Series between West Virginia and Troy. We're still in the top of the ninth. The Mountaineers have scored another run. It is 8-0. Top of the ninth, 8-0, and 2 runners on base, first and second for the Mountaineers. Looking to put some more runs on the board before the final 3 outs for the Troy Trojans. I don't think Troy's coming back from this. I could be wrong. It could be an amazing bottom of the ninth here, but the Mountaineers are looking to run this thing up before they have to pitch and try to get 3 more outs. So I'm going to say it right now. Mountaineers look like they're on their way. Troy Trojans, a lot of work to do. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Save big money on your next painting project when you shop at Menards. Get long-lasting color with Pittsburgh's grand distinction exterior paint and primer in one. It's highly dirt-resistant and provides a mildew-resistant coating. Save big money in all Pittsburgh paints. Our knowledgeable team is ready to help bring your dreams to life, 1 gallon at a time. Stop by your local Menards and get your project started today.
Save big money at Menards.
On the basketball court, the soccer pitch, or even the golf course, your crew brings their best not just for the win, but for that post-game celebration. When victory tastes like Michelob Ultra, it's worth every drop of sweat. And if you don't win, you'll still get the beer. It's just on you. Superior is worth playing for. Michelob Ultra, 2.6 carbs, 95 calories. Superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2025, Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Our Kindred Communications family of stations reminds you of the need for blood donations to the Red Cross. Blood is always needed. It may save your life or the life of a loved one. This reminder is brought to you in part by
Carmen's Used Cars, Trucks, RVs in Jackson, Ohio. Drive away with a great deal today. Carmen'sUsedCars.com. Bob's Market and Greenhouse, serving Gallipolis, Belpre, Ohio, and Mason, West Virginia.
For one night only, 9th Street becomes Shakedown Street. 9th Street is Dead this Friday, June 19th, featuring John Ingram's Dead Center on the Marshall OBGYN stage at Moses Auto Mall of Huntington, 9th Street Live. Presented by Michelob Ultra. White Claw, Big Timber, and Country Boy Brewing. Experience a night of iconic songs, epic jams, and a community that knows how to keep the music alive. The Little Caesars Kids Zone is back, and Go-Mart Happy Hour starts at 5. Enjoy 9th Street libations from the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe, Sip Downtown Brasserie, and Summit Beer Station, featuring Tito's, Milagro Tequila, Rebel Bourbon, High Noon, and Lucky One. The after-show party takes place at Jerk Riley's at Pullman Square. Mark your calendar for July 10th, and enjoy the music of the Beatles with the Newbies. The Thundering Herd Rally is Friday, August 14th, sponsored by Wendy's, Huntington Beverage Center, Sods, Apex Tech, The Great Outdoors Marine, Village Caregiving, Thoroughbred Express Wash, the City of Huntington, Marshall University, Blinko Glass Company, Marshall Health Network Arena, and Kindred Communications.
Every day, I wake up at 5 a.m. to give Dad his medicine. Every day, I wake up at 5 a.m. to give Dad his medicine. At 6 a.m., I make his breakfast. Every day, I wake up at 5 a.m. to give Dad his medicine. At 6 a.m., I make his breakfast. At 7 a.m., I shower. Every day, I wake up at 5 a.m. to give Dad his medicine. At 6 a.m., I make his breakfast. At 7 a.m., I shower. I start laundry at 8. At 10, we go for a walk. Every day, I wake up at 5 a.m.
For those dealing with the daily struggles of caring for a loved one, we hear you. That's why AARP created a community with experts and other caregivers for advice, tips, and support. Together, let's help each other better care for ourselves and the ones we love. Visit aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
160,000 kids stay home from school every day for the same reason: bullying. This is Dale Lee, president of the West Virginia Education Association. Bullying impacts nearly 1/3 of all students every year, but parents, educators, and concerned adults can make a difference. It takes just one caring adult to intervene and help stop the bullying. Victims need an adult that will listen, will stand up for them, and most importantly, show them that they are not alone. Bullying and cyberbullying have far-reaching effects, from a decline in academic performance to physical illness, depression, or worse. Help us create a safe, bully-free learning environment for all students in West Virginia. One caring adult can make all the difference. Take the pledge to be that adult at NEA.org/bullyfree.
A message from the West Virginia Education Association.
This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Miss an episode? Catch it anytime on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
We continue on with this Tuesday edition of Your Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line this hour brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop. 304-396-TALK. That is 304-396-8255. Text line is open for the remainder of the show. We got to take a quick segment here, and then we got to take our final break. So I will probably take that in the next few minutes. So get those texts in, and we'll just clear the deck for the rest of the show. Keeping an eye on the College World Series elimination game for the Mountaineers and the Troy Trojans. West Virginia, top of the ninth, up on Troy 10-0. 10-0. Got to take on UNC. Can you do it? Can you beat UNC? They look really good. And I thought Troy was going to put up some offense, to be quite fair. I knew that it would probably come down to pitching depth. I don't think that Troy's got it. Troy's good. Top to bottom, starter to starter, I think Troy's good. But West Virginia's just got a little bit more depth. So we'll see what kind of fight that the Trojans have in them. Can they take that goose egg off the scoreboard before it's all said and done? But it looks like it's going to be the end for the Troy Trojans and the Sun Belt in the College World Series. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. You want to catch the last inning of that game, you can check it out on our sister station, Cat Sports 93.3 and 1340. You can head on over to the website as well, catsports933.com. You can listen to it there as we're continuing the game over there with the College World Series. Text line says, Paul, I'm not a big fan of the preseason publications. They usually don't get it right. Appreciate the thought. Yeah, there's some nice information. There's some nuggets there. There's some info. I usually pick up one. I don't know if I'm going to pick up the Phil Steele one because, after all, it's sort of like a mini investment here. I have to take out a small little loan to get that one. But these things have gone up in price, and you see them at the magazine stand. I mean, where do you buy magazines anymore? Go to Walmart. They got them out there in the end caps, or they've got they got a little section of magazines. You go to Kroger, and there's like this little section. They have magazines. I know they have a section, back in the department store, for but where do you get magazines? Where do you buy those? I mean, you usually subscribe to those. I mean, those were the days as a kid. You didn't have the internet, so you had to subscribe. You had to get Sports Illustrated, right? The sporting news. You had to get those magazines. And they were emailed to you. I'm sorry, mailed to you. Whoa. See how life has changed? No, they didn't email those to you back then. They put the stamp on it. They did the prepaid postage, and off it went, and they turned that thing around as fast as possible. I would get the hockey news. I would get the sporting news, Sports Illustrated, SI, just a mix, from the time, because you could get also deals like, hey, you can get 12 issues for X amount of dollars, and then you would get that, and then you would cancel and get the different one. And I'm probably outing myself here a little bit with my age, but you remember, if you're of a certain age, going downtown Huntington and just going to Nick's News. That was a big deal. It's like, hey, what do you want to do? Let's go to Nick's News. Okay. So you go to Nick's News, and you would get and of course that's where we're looking at the magazines, and you could just look at them. You could just look at them. You didn't have to buy them. You could just look at them, pick them up. Pick up the sporting news if you wanted to. Pick up the preseason publications. And, of course, now we just got to scurry to the grocery store if we want to get one of those magazines. And that used to be a thing we did. Like, okay, the magazines are out, so we'd all leave the office, and we have to go get our own very own personal copy of, like, Athlon, Lindy's. We'd have to get the Street and Smith. We'd have to get those magazines. Again, Phil, you don't necessarily see Phil's book on the news rack. He's got this mail order thing going on, and of course, a lot of people swear by it. The online service wasn't bad when I had it. Yeah, do I recommend it? I mean, if you like that kind of thing, sure, but I don't know. Once you get deep into the season, I don't know how good it is. I mean, it's really just, hey, here's our outlook. Here's what it looks like, and if you like that kind of stuff, you can devour those magazines, and it's cool. It's nice. It was cool to have like a magazine where I could just flip through. Okay, hey, here's the team, and okay, here's their schedule, and you can write in it. I always did that as well. I would make notes, but it's hard to sit there and go, how accurate are these things really going to be? Honestly, how much can you really rely on them? Final segment coming up. Your text 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. This is The Drive.
Injured in a fall? Warner Law Offices is now here for you in Huntington on 4th Avenue across from the courthouse. Personal, local, decades of experience.
Call 345-6789.
Buddy's All-American Barbecue now delivers straight to your door. Wings, ribs, brisket, and more. Order online at WVBBQ.com. Great barbecue, ice-cold beer, and killer wings. All without leaving your couch. Buddy's All-American Barbecue, 3rd Avenue in Huntington.
Hey, Lex, I got a question for you about our friends over at K&B Pest Control.
Shoot.
Do you think they'll eliminate my mother-in-law?
I think so.
She's in the house, kind of pesky.
From what I understand, they'll kill for your business, so you might want to have a talk.
No, these guys are great, man. Locally owned and operated in Huntington, West Virginia, serving the tri-state area. Free estimates, highly skilled staff. There's specialized training and inspections and solutions. So no matter what's going on, they'll figure it out. They'll find out where these pests are coming from, and they will eliminate them.
Yep, and you can even do comparisons with their Facebook page. They got real pest pics. This is when the critters start coming out, Terrence, so if you're seeing problems like they have on their Facebook page, call 304-523-4281.
Go ahead and ask for Patrick or Becca. They will hook you up. Promise. We promise you it's KNBPestControl.com. Go ahead and hit them up online as well. K&B Pest Control, they will kill for your business.
Trust the guys with over 40 years of experience at K&B Pest Control.
Hometown Chevrolet, your home of the new 30-mile-per-gallon Chevy Trax and the new 3-row SUVs like the Traverse, Tahoe, and Suburban. Everything you need right here at home. Want a new truck? We have 0% financing for a full 5 years on new 2026 Chevy Silverado 1500s and free oil changes for life at your hometown Chevy dealer. Our used inventory is priced to move with the quality you want at a payment that makes sense. From low APRs to rebuilding, we'll get you done. Hometown Chevrolet, Waverly, Ohio, where everybody drives home. The West Virginia and Appalachian Laborers District Council and Lyona are building West Virginia. From the roads and bridges that move us today to the infrastructure that keeps the Mountain State competitive tomorrow. Lyona's more than 5,000 members across the region help grow local economies by earning good union wages, shopping where they live and work, and paying taxes that strengthen our communities. Lyona builds West Virginia for good jobs, stronger communities, and a better future. Online at WVLDC.org.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. So, who's going to do what? Flashlights?
Nowhere to be found.
Where to be found? Batteries?
Dead.
Great. Emergency supply kits?
Not packed.
No. What about blankets?
We have an old towel.
Good enough. Cell phones?
May not work.
Emergency water?
Not a drop.
And what about food?
Nope.
Perfect. We all know where we're meeting if we're separated, yeah?
The library. Aunt Joan's house. The bus stop.
Great. And I'll be waiting here wondering where you all are. Sounds like we don't have a plan. Who's up for mini golf?
Winging it is not an emergency plan. Make sure your kids know what to do during an emergency. Who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information. A public service announcement brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kathleen Eubanks-Ming with the American Academy of Family Physicians. Bullies use power, strength, or popularity to hurt others emotionally or physically. And while you can't be with your child all the time, there are ways you can help. If your child encounters a bully, tell them to get to a safe place and tell an adult. You can also show them how to block online bullies. Teach them they can be more than a bystander and that they can help their peers. For more on bullying, visit familydoctor.org or talk with your family physician.
Join parents and experts at understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues designed to help you help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything. Brought to you by Understood.org and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Dave Wilson, host of Metro News Talk Line, and you're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Thank you, Dave. Don't forget, coming up tomorrow, 10:06, it is Metro News Talk Line right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line is open, brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop at 304-396-TALK. That is 304-396-8255. We've got a lot of topics we got into today and talking about preseason publications, of course, going back in the Wayback Machine there to talk a little bit about going to the magazine stand. Yeah, anymore, it's the online subscription. It's the 24/7 recruiting service, right? You know, the .com boom, the Rivals.com era. I remember those. I mean, they were spending some really big dollars back in the early days of Rivals.com. And now you've got publications that are coming out that are, going it alone. They're not on a network. They're finding their niche, and you've got more publications swallowing up others. So it's crazy as far as how much money you can really make on college athletics. And it's to think that there's still print publications out there that are doing this thing of giving you the preseason magazine. And on a local level, I know people run for the newspaper when the high school tab comes out. If anything, the one time of the year I pick up the paper, it's probably the high school tab. Got to see what the local schools are doing. Of course, got to get those schedules. I like to have it in just one handy little place where I can just keep an eye on it the entire year. I can flip back. Of course, there's a roster there. I don't have to go dig one up on the internet. It just makes it really handy for me here. So, of course, shout out to my friends over at the newspaper for what they do. Definitely appreciate their work. We're going to be back with you tomorrow here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Before we go, let's check in. We're in the bottom of the ninth here, College World Series elimination game between the West Virginia Mountaineers and the Troy Trojans. And West Virginia is up 12-0. Again, bottom of the ninth here. Troy needs 12 runs to tie this thing and extend it, and needs 13 to win it. Now, we saw Troy score 12 on Ole Miss. I don't know if that's going to happen here. There is a runner on base, but you're going to need a lot more to continue the season and, of course, get the Sun Belt. It looks like almost thought we were going to have a double play here, but keeping an eye on it. Looks like one out. Nope. Runner's safe. Okay. So keeping an eye on that one. Of course, this one's almost at its conclusion. We're carrying the game on our sister station, Cat Sports 93.3 and 1340. Of course, it's streaming as well on ESPN. West Virginia looking like it's going to advance, and that's going to do it for Troy Trojans and the Sun Belt. But, again, think about it this way. Marshall's in a conference where you've got several teams making it and potentially has a chance to win or at least compete in the College World Series on a yearly basis. That's where Marshall baseball is at right now. So keep that in mind. It's a good league. There's a lot of potential there for the Thundering Herd. You've got the facility. Now you just need to get the support, the team, and everything to fall into place, and you can be among those perennial powers in the Sun Belt. It's set up for success, right? You hope so anyway. You hope that it's set up for success for this team. All right, it looks like we got one out for Troy. Bottom of the ninth, Mountaineers leading 12-0. This one is pretty much a foregone conclusion unless the most amazing rally in recent memory happens here as we go off the air. And with all of that said, it's time to go. Thanks for being a part of today here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. You can be a part of the show anytime. Find me on X at Paul Swann. Of course, you can find us on Facebook, The Drive with Paul Swann. If you like the show but you can't listen live all the time, you can download the podcast. It's available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Also, you can go to the website, WRVC.com. You can download the app, listen to the show live on your phone. You can listen to the podcast at the website as well. The best place to go to get the app, listen to the podcast, start at WRVC.com. Thanks for being a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
WRVC Huntington, W227BS Huntington, your flagship home of the Marshall Thundering Herd and The Drive with Paul Swann, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.